What's going on YouTube? Johnny here, back with another video for you guys. As always, hope everyone's been doing well and that you had a great week. Today's video, we're making carrot cake, so with that being said, let's get started. And for the ingredients for the carrot cake, we have our eggs, we have our sugar, oil. In this bowl is a mixture of flour, baking soda, salt, and cinnamon. And then we have our coconut right here. And then we have our pecans, we have our raisins, and then we have our shaved carrots. And this is just how my mom and grandma would make it, so this is how I'm making it. And if you guys celebrate Easter, this is the perfect cake for Easter Sunday tomorrow, because, you know, the Easter Bunny loves the carrots, so we'll go ahead and get the Easter Bunny a nice snack. All right, so we'll add the eggs, we'll add the sugar, and then we'll add the oil. And now what we'll do, we'll have the mixer going on about a medium speed. And then we'll let that go for a little bit, incorporate, and then we'll add the remainder of the ingredients into that. Alright, and now we're just going to add the flour, and what we do, a helpful hint, you want to make sure your mixer's on a low speed, and you add the flour slowly, because if not, you'll have a dust storm in your face, and that will be hard to breathe with all that. So we'll just slowly add this in, and now that all of that is in, what we'll do is just make sure that we mix until everything is fully incorporated, and then we'll add the remainder of the ingredients to the side. All right, and I took the bowl off the mixer because when adding these smaller ingredients, you know, especially like the raisins, I don't want the mixer to make it really mushy or anything. So we'll add the raisins, we'll add the coconut, we'll add the pecans, and then now what we'll do is with the spoon, you'll just want to fold and tuck again, and this makes sure that everything is evenly incorporated, and that way you get a nice okay, don't do that, but you want to fold and incorporate slowly without making a mess, and you make sure that it gets a nice even mixture throughout the batter of the cake. All right, and if you remember, since the last videos was a bundt cake, today we're using the round pans, and I'm making a round cake. So I went ahead and already greased or lined the pan with grease and then dusted it with flour. So then what I'll do is, since you want to make sure that there's an even amount per pan or however many you're using, I have a 1 cup measuring cup, so that way it's more of a precise measurement going into each pan. So what I'll do is start with this pan, and I'll just go 2 here, 2 in this one. And you want to make sure it's even, because this will affect the cooking time in each pan. So obviously you want to make sure that they all have the same, so that way it's just all one cooking time for each pan. So again, I'll just go like this, scoop that out, and then I'll get another cup for this one and scoop that out, and then I'll go ahead and finish up the pans here. All right, so here's what we're looking like. And then before placing them in the oven, what I'll do is just kind of spread it out so that way it's just a nice even spread in each pan. And like I said earlier, if you guys celebrate Easter, let me know what some of your family plans are for the weekend. Are you guys doing a big breakfast, a big brunch, whatever it may be? I'd love to hear from you down below in the comments, so keep me posted. All right, and since we're using round cake pans, well, actually, before I get there, we have it set to 325 for the oven. And now, since we're using round cake pans, the range for that, I think, will be anywhere between 25 to 45 minutes. And again, that also depends on the equipment or the oven that you're using, because different ovens run hotter or not as hot as others. I found most results between 25 to 45 minutes, and I will always check on things that are baking on the lower end of the time frame just to make sure it doesn't over bake or burn. So we'll go ahead and keep an eye on that. All right, so while the cake is in the oven baking away, what we'll do is get started on the icing, and we are making a cream cheese based icing. So we have our half a block of cream cheese, half a stick of butter, we have our powdered sugar right here, and then an extremely helpful tip that I think takes the icing of a cake to a next level is adding some heavy whipping cream to it, or you can also add milk. But the thing is, you don't want to add too much, because then the icing will become really, really runny. So it just not only helps with the consistency, so it's not a super thick icing, but it just elevates the taste to a whole nother level for me. So what we'll do is add the butter and cream cheese in first, and we'll get that incorporated on a low speed and let that do its thing. All right, guys, so after you've creamed the butter and cream cheese, this is what it will be looking like. And another potential dust storm you want to be careful of is when you add the powdered sugar. So on a low speed, we'll just slowly add the powdered sugar to the mixture. Alright, and a little while after adding the powdered sugar to the mixture, this is what it will look like. So you can always stop the mixer, and then you'll grab your spatula and just stir the sides and make sure that everything is well incorporated. Alright, so this is what we're currently looking like. So then now, I'll go ahead and lower the mixer, have that on, and I'll add just little by little. Less is more with this, so you can always add more later. So I'll add that, and as you can see, it'll mix together. And come to, you can just keep on adding more cream or milk if you prefer to get to that desired consistency. All right, so we have about a minute left, and I originally set the timer for 25 minutes. And I don't know how much you can see through the oven door, but the cake is still visibly wet on top. So I'm going to add about another 10 minutes. And I'm not opening the oven because when you do that, it can tend to let the heat out. And sometimes with like a bread or if you're baking a cake, it'll fall. And we have the sous chef who is standing by, and he approves that 10 minutes is needed for the cake. So, order received. All right, so it's been about 42 minutes now. So let's go ahead and do the skewer test. Nice. And just to make sure, nice. That's what I'm talking about. So what we'll do is, here we go. Thought this was with me on this side. So what we'll do, actually I'm gonna do 2 hands on one so that way I don't drop it. And if you guys see the broccoli, no, that's not going in the cake. We're cooking dinner on the side, so don't worry. That's not a secret ingredient for the carrot cake that we make over here. And, maybe, I don't know if the camera got it or not, but I'm rocking my new Crocs. Looking good. I got them decked out and I don't want to say bedazzled, but got some nice accessories on them. And no, they're not in sport mode, because we're making cake and we got to handle that with care, and it's delicate. I can't be zooming around all over the place here. But our cake is ready to go. We have the icing off to the side. So again, we'll let this cake cool off, and then we'll go ahead and add the icing to that. So the cakes have been cooling for a while now. So right here we have the rack because we're going to turn the cake onto that. And just a helpful hint, I've already loosened up the cake along the edges of the inside of the pan. And I'm using a plastic fork so I don't scratch the pan. So then now what we'll do is like this, and then make sure you don't drop the cake because that would not be good. So we'll flip that out. Moment of truth, here we go. Yeah, not bad, not bad. So there's cake 1, and time for cake 2. Drum roll. Nice. Both looking good. All right, and what I'm working on right now is the center layer of icing for our cake. So I'll go ahead and continue to spread this layer out and get that ready. And in the middle, I just did a thin layer of the frosting because what we're going to be doing here is, here we go. So then place this down as evenly as possible. What I'll do is put a layer of frosting on top as well as the sides. So I don't want the cake, that's just kind of personal preference. I don't want the cake to be super rich with a bunch of frosting. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the top layer. All right, so the next piece of the puzzle, being the top of the cake, is done. So now I'll start on the sides, and I'll just kind of slowly rotate and continue to do that. And it's getting a little messy with the crumbs, but that's all right. And for the final spin of the cake, here's what we got. And also, don't mind the presentation. It's not the cleanest look, but it's all about the taste, and that's all that matters. And here we go. Not too bad. I probably could have added a little more frosting in the middle. But again, I just didn't want the cake to have too much icing, because that's, for me, again, personally, that's just the worst thing when something is too rich and you can only take like 2 or 3 bites. So yeah, looking good. Happy with how it turned out. And that concludes today's video. As always, thank you so much for stopping by, tuning in, and supporting me in this channel. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you don't miss when I upload here on the channel. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, if you and your family are celebrating Easter, I'm wishing you all a very happy Easter Sunday. I hope you enjoy the day. Have a great upcoming week. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.